Hello tubers, how do you like my sexy hack? I made it myself so no pig catches and stuff. Look a bit of a knob, but there we are. I've got my engine in now, thanks to my cousin helping me. I'm not sure if I told you that before. I had it in the place where it's supposed to be, but I just could not do it on my own, and I would suggest to anybody else, if you can. I actually messed around for a day trying to do it myself and I couldn't, and I had my friend here just pushing the engine like that as I turned the prop shaft, sorry, the crank, and it just went in straight away. Sometimes you can't do it all on your own, and that's it. So I'm busy putting everything back together quietly, Bach. There's a few very awkward things on these engines. They're horrible. Now, on the back of this engine, there's a little pipe that's going to the turbo, an oil pipe, and that goes down to the bottom of the engine, and it pushes into a little hole there for it. Well, that had to come on, didn't it? And it's a pig, absolute pig, and the pipe is very, very delicate. I damaged the pipe when I was getting it off, so I had to buy a new one, and I thought when I put it back on it'd be quite an easy job, but you have to be so careful with that pipe, because it's made like wafer thin. Compressor has to go on, doesn't it? There we are. So be very careful with that one on the back of the engine. I would almost go to the point of, well, no, you can't put it on first because you just damage it putting the engine on. So just be very careful with that one. Another stupid thing with these engines is you can't adjust the fan belt on them. So you've got to put the fan belt on. I'm sure there's people way of doing this, but when you put the fan belt on, you've got to hook the alternator belt over the alternator and then wrench it back and put one of the bolts in. It's a real twat of a job, especially when you haven't got, if you've got the radiator, it's a nightmare. And the same with this bottom pulley belt to run the water pump and the steering pump. That one there has got no adjustment again, and you've got to put it on. You've got to stretch it to get it on, basically, and turn it as you're doing it. It's a horrible job, absolutely stupid invention. Why they don't have adjusters there, I don't know, like an old alternator. So we've got most of the things back together quietly, Bach. A few more pipes to put on. I've blocked the DPF off there, like I showed you before, with a little plate, so we'll see how that will work. I've got a bit more stuff to put on yet, quite a bit more stuff to put on yet, and then we'll see if it'll start. You know, if I'm trying to tell you I'm not worried, I am worried, because I've never refurbished an engine from scratch. I've never had every single bolt undone on an engine before in my life, and put it all back together. And there's one thing, like I told you, is that crank seal I'm still not 100% happy with. So I'm sure we're going to have a few leaks here. Hope not. So these transit engines are absolute swines to put in and out. I'm sure you could take the gearbox out as well, but I didn't want to do that myself. But maybe next time I will do that. But it's a pig, absolute pig to move about on and get at, especially get at the manifold and stuff at the back. Thank God for this lift. I don't know how you'd get up in there otherwise. But there we are. I will show you as we get on, and I put a bit more back together. Hello tubes, I've got 99% of the stuff back on. All I've got to do is put water in it and bleed it through to the injectors and put these on top of the injectors. Oh my God, the amount of work fixing behind there with the turbo and the exhaust and things like that is a real ball break. Anybody tells you that changing an engine in a transit from scratch is easy, it ain't. Not on your own anyway. So we got to put a screw to put that on. We got oil in it. We'll leave the front off for now, and I'll bleed that tomorrow, and we'll see if it'll start up. Cross fingers. Hold on, here's the button. Yes! We got the fucking thing going. All that work. Oh, I'd be worried about this one. I actually really like chocolate, fellas and girls. I had a bit of a problem with it sucking air in, and the filter had somehow moved and it was letting air in. But the engine has been perfectly fine. So, I've got the engine in. You wouldn't believe it, there's been hardly any of a leak. I had a little leak on the oil filter housing, it's got a crack in it, so I've got a new cap coming for that. But nothing else really. So the engine itself, when I started it up, the oil light was on, and I was a little bit worried about that. So I turned it off and I checked everything, and I was talking to a chap, and he suggested running it until the oil bleeded it back through. I was a little bit dubious about that, but I took the top off the cover and I could see oil was going around, so I just did that on tick over, and then the oil light went away. So obviously what it was when I'd taken the oil cooler off and had the engine to bits, all the oil had sort of gone out of the oil cooler, and it's like a bit of a matrix in there, and it hadn't bled through properly. So after a few minutes, and I also took the electrics off the injectors and turned it over for ages and ages to make sure the oil had spun around. So that cleared itself. But I have got a problem. It's nothing to do with the engine. I got air coming through the diesel pipes to such an extent it's stopping the engine. Now when I fill the diesel filter up with the diesel and put it on, it'll start straight away and run until the filter's empty, and then you can see huge gobs of air coming through the diesel pipes. So through various means, I've noticed that where you get the push fit connectors on Ford for fuel lines, sometimes when they go bad, they pull air past the O-ring in there. And it's a twat of a job to fix it. So I decided to get rid of them altogether, and where they push on there, look, I don't know if you can see that fit in there, I'm going to put all new pipes going to the back of the tank like this, using 10mm fuel pipe, proper diesel fuel pipe. So that can slide straight over the joint and we won't have any problems then, hopefully. So that's the only thing wrong with the van now, is just that diesel coming through. So you would never believe it, the van started up straight away as soon as I bled it. I was very, very surprised and happy. So you can put your mind to anything if you try. So this is what we're going to do next. I've got a new phone now, so I'm using this at the moment. So I don't know if it's bad or good or whatever. So there we are. So that's what I've done. So I've got 10mm pipe coming in to an agricultural 2-filter setup, and then 10mm pipe going into the fuel pump down here. So we've got none of these push fits anymore. The only push fit is on the where it goes into the diesel tank itself. All the rest is all straight through 10mm proper fuel pipe. The return line is still going back through the filter, and I've used the previous pipe, the see-through pipe that goes to the injector pump, and plugged it back into itself here, so the diesel doesn't come out when the return goes back to the tank. So I've left the old filter system on. But it's just ridiculous. I've swapped it for this, and it's instantly all worked correctly. This system was letting so much air in, it was laughable. it would just, you could see it coming through the pipes. So, like I said before, I bought a brand new whole setup, new filter, all new setup there, and new pipes before this engine went in, and it's still gone bad again now. So this is what we're going to keep on it from now on. Them push fits are crap. This is it all put together now. I haven't got the bonnet on yet, that's the only thing left. Fuel pump is under there, nicely put in, so you can see, very well hidden. Don't think anybody's going to notice. If I can reach in here now. Can you see in it? You can see there's no lights for the DPF, and I blocked the DPF off. Maybe that'll change when I drive it, I don't know. So good. Just going to do a little bit underneath now to paint the chassis ready for the test, and we are sorted! Hey! We're driving round the field. Seems to be going okay. Needs a bit of brake fluid and clutch fluid, but she's going well so far. It can all go Pete Tong, but me and Karen went for a spin to Landrin today in the van, all working perfectly fine, and then when I switched it off at home, it wouldn't start up again. So I thought that's a bit odd. Everything's working fine, engine was sounding fine. Remember I put on this filter system here off the tractor, so I thought I'd get the filters off. Look at this. Look at the shit in that filter. Don't know, was that there before with the tractor? I don't think so. But no wonder it wouldn't fucking go. So, as you know, I always tell you the truth of these things, so that is what's stopping it to work. At the moment, a lot of shit from somewhere. Onwards and upwards!